let's kick the show off right.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here with me, cause
It's Project Open Mic. Let's have a good show tonight.
let's get the topic straight, let's get things good, let's do everything that we should.
It's Project Open Mic. Let's kick the show off right.
Let's open our minds and take out our style. Let's see what's going on in the world tonight.
It's Project Open Mic. Let's have a good show tonight. It's Project Open Mic. Let's kick the show off right. It's Project Open Mic. Let's have a good show tonight. It's Project Open Mic. Let's kick the show off right. It's Project Open Mic. Let's have a good show tonight. It's Project Open Mic. Let's kick the show off right.
All right, what's going on, everybody? This is your boy Tick for Project Open Mic. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you guys had a good Labor Day weekend and enjoyed it with family. Hope everybody's safe, nobody got hurt. Hope I love you from on the screen. So, hope you guys are doing well. Also, I have to apologize. I am down under the weather, so my throat gonna be a little more raspy and it's gonna be more sniffy. You know, I got a little cold or so, maybe so over the weekend. So I apologize for that. But with that said, we are going to go into. I couldn't do it last week because of it was so much video that I want to talk about. So we are talking about part 2 of the college student loan debt. Now, a lot of people say, "Oh, Biden said it's gonna happen." No, it's not. Congress is the only person who could start it. That's the way it's supposed to be. And even if Biden tries to do it by executive order, it will be wrapped up in the courts. So he just did this, like I said before, for votes in November. Now, it's kind of funny, just as an offside shoot, is that I heard what do you call it? There was a general poll talking about before Roe versus Wade and the thing happened, and it was saying that the Republicans was gonna sweep 50 points. Now because of Roe versus Wade, it's flipped to 3 points positive on the Democrat side, and I'm like, wow, we just really. Like, I still never understand the whole Roe versus Wade when it was a lie. It was not a real law. It was not stuff like that. When they had the time to ratify it, the Democrats didn't do it. But that's another show. I already proven that 10 times to Sunday how that law was never constitutional, it was not right, and it was not real. But we're gonna go and continue with the student debt. So, like I said before, the student debt was I showed you where the student debt problem came from, with of course being that the banks them had it back in 2010, but after that, the Democrats side of the party say that the government should take over student loans and give a guarantee back. Since they are guaranteed back the student loans, the tuition for colleges have gone higher and higher and higher. And every time they go higher, the government say we gotta raise the tuition, we gotta raise the back loans, and then it goes higher again because the colleges got guaranteed money. Now, of course, I'm gonna tell you at the end of this video, if you didn't watch the first video, I wish you should go back and watch. It's our Project Open Mic at YouTube, or same thing on Spotify as well as Anchor. At the end of that video, I gave the solution to the student loan debt that will basically fix it. But again, like I said before, the politicians do not want to fix this problem because it would take away their voting block, their power, and an issue to push that could keep you voting and keep you in the pen so you can vote for that one thing. Because most people are one issue voters, which is, to me, is asinine. But as the book said, irrational voters, human beings are irrational. So I'm not surprised with that. That's why I have my phrase where I say, people are stupid, individuals smart. Hopefully, you can be smart individuals. So that's the one I want to check out there. Let me see. I want to see if I could bring up that. So so we could have, so we have that same video, so we can use it. Give me a second here. So I'll find it. If I can find a video of, okay, of that, because I want to prove the part where I said she don't care. No, she's. I'm sorry. They don't care about this kind of Well, it was she was. It's basically Maxine Waters who were drilling the banks, and people were like, oh, the banks are this and that and whatever. So okay, I get it. And again, I apologize for my, because again, I'm just trying. I came on a little cold right there, and will clear my throat to the show. So I do apologize for that. I don't want to be harsh for people. So if I can't find that video from that I used last week, so you know what? I'm gonna see if I can find it through another means. But so let's just get straight to it and stop waffling. So the United the student tuition debt is $1.7 trillion. I show that when you go to the USDebtClock.org, and you will see what's on the screen. You'll see how the craziness go. That's a crazy number, and it's rising higher and higher and higher. Last last show, I showed a lot of people are getting student loan debts because they're not using it. They're not smart enough to choose the right loans. One, two, they're getting useless degrees that don't give them nothing, don't pay them nothing. Example: a person getting a $90,000, spending $90,000 for a job that only gives you average of $30,000. That's a waste of time. That's stupid. But the person got a master's in that, and they're a single mom, and they're not gonna pay back the $90,000. They're not. So again, at the end of the show, I will give you my the answer to this problem. Okay, it needs to be answered. So with that stated, so one of the things I wanted to talk about, so I'm gonna go back, like I said, get into it. One of the things I want to talk about is this too. I came up here, I had a student, like I said, I had a student loan, but I paid it off. But what helped me pay my college tuition that I graduated without no student debt is I looked for a lot of scholarships. Well, my first scholarship was a very, very high score on SATs. That gave me a scholarship. Again, as you can see, I'm a black person. That gave me a scholarship, a very good scholarship. Was it a full ride? No, but it gave me a good scholarship for 2 years, and it helped out when I needed help. But I looked for multiple other scholarships and grants. I went, like I say again, um, community scholarships. I got that. Community design. I designed a tennis court for this for a community center. I should say tennis court and facilities and everything. The whole grounds. Like we had the whole grounds to design it, and we helped did that, and we got like I said, I got scholarship for that. Of course, scholarship for helping the community out. Scholarship for grades. Scholarship for doing study work for people in the college. That's the things that grants and scholarship. That's what I did. I had a Pell Grant too. I did that when I first started in Durham Tech. I did. Then I had it for NC State. But that's my point. I had scholarships. I looked for stuff, and I made sure that it was most of the stuff that I came that I had somewhere to pay. Now, most of the money I pay most because of T3 Records, the company that I own, the music company that I own, was making money, and that also helped pay for that too. That paid most majority of it. But again, at that time, I had 3 jobs. I was running T3 Records. I was working for Midway Airlines until September 11th. United, United UPS, working for the outside ground by the airport, going to the planes, taking up the cargo and all that stuff. Did that while again working at a gift shop in a store, and a gift shop, bookshop in a store, and still with T3 Records, like I stated. So I was working 3 jobs at the time. But I was determined not to make. When I graduated, I graduated with a degree, which is in the STEM field, of course, being architectural engineering and stuff that I do, and that it will pay money that I can not only have a good job, but I use my degree to get the job, which I did happen, and I'm happy for it. So, going back to saying I'm black, and I set up on the SAT scores. This is another thing they're trying to do now with the SAT scores. So we'll continue to pick off from 2. So right here will be a cut, because I will blend these together, but there will be one massive video so people can know in the future. So, but it will be right here. We'll just pick up from where we left off with what now the colleges are doing, which again, the colleges are making it harder for people. And it's like they want people. Well, let's put it this way: some of the colleges want out-of-state people so they can get more money, and also want foreigners to make more money, and they also want a lot of blacks and a lot of other people. Which I'm not saying you should not go and get your college degree, or whatever. In that case, as long as you aim for a stupid degree in a stupid study like Persian studies, like we talked about in the last show. Persian studies, which the black girl never even used that with the child to teach English. It's so stupid. So that's just crazy. But they want to use those because you guys would get the loans easier, so they could keep the money coming in. And of course, the rich types, of course. So let's go in with that point. It's true. Like I said, I got a scholarship because of this. One of my big scholarships was because of this. What up, Double A? Times have changed. Old generation needs to own up to their sins to make the current generation pay for their debt. Yeah, that is true. We do that also with how we do it. What do you call it? With our taxes and everything. That's for sure. But anyway, let's put this on the screen and let's talk about the SATs. How they try to do. How the colleges now are trying to get you to basically they're dumbing down the college. As I said, I'm gonna play a skit from not a skit. I'll play a real article because again, a lot of these people who graduate from college are not smart. They really are dumbing down a lot of kids. As I played in the last video, a lot of these kids didn't know the Washington D.C. was the capital of the United States. That the Atlantic Ocean is east of the United States. Holy crap! That's how crazy it's gotten. But anyway, let's go with good old John Stossel.
Your kids may not have to.
George Washington University is ditching the SATs.
The University of California system will no longer require applicants to submit ACT or SAT scores.
And you wonder why those the video I showed in part 1 where the kids were from UCLA and they didn't know that the Atlantic Ocean is to the east of America. They were UCLA. This proves my point how stupid it is. They're dumbing it down.
Scores.
Some schools now won't even look at scores. Why? Partly because richer kids often get tutoring help that gives them unfair advantage. And
I wasn't a rich kid, I could tell you that by far.
And because some minority groups don't score as well.
If more universities
I score higher than all those numbers, so hey, I did good.
began to become test optional, this would allow more students to be accepted into a wider range of colleges,
Which will raise up the debt more and the college gets more money so they can raise it more and more. It's a self-perpetuating cycle.
Real learning is not standardized. So why judge children in schools just by test scores?
What? Because if they don't know the material, why would I want them to work on my car, my body, my eyes, my tooth? I want to know they know what they're doing.
Commercials from this group helped persuade colleges to dump tests.
I mean, these are businesses selling products.
Exactly.
The College Board is $1 billion a year business. Its president was paid over $1 million.
Fair Test president says test companies just want to make money.
Like the tobacco industry, giving you the best spin on what they can do.
What's wrong with the tests?
Well, the test makers themselves admit that the SAT and ACT are inferior predictors of college performance.
I don't think so, crazy white man.
Inferior? Well, test makers do admit that high school grades predict 33% of college grades, while tests predict 32%. Not very inferior.
Exactly. You gotta like the language spin.
And using both grades and SATs is best at predicting grades, which makes the tests useful. If you're a Latino immigrant who goes to a lousy high school, but you test well, you got a shot.
That might help. It's a diamond in the rough argument, and there are actually very few examples of that being true.
I believed him.
That's some bull ass. I guess so. I'm a diamond in the rough then. Okay, I'm a diamond in the rough.
Until I looked at College Board data that shows students with C grades in high school, but great SAT scores do better in college than A+ students with lower SAT scores. That's true for all grade levels. Better test scores strongly predict success in college.
Ooh, wow.
This MIT student got good SAT scores. He tweeted, "The SAT is fairer than the alternative, needing my parents to connect me with a professor."
A standardized test is like really the best thing we can do in order to like level the playing field.
By pushing this, you're just screwing the minority student who is really smart, but goes to a lousy high school, has family problems, and got low grades.
Presumably, if that kid is really good at doing academic work, that student would have shown brilliantly in her high school classes.
That's another myth. Not really, because a lot of these, I've shown how these schools are crappy as crap. And they're disrupted by the high, I'm talking about the high schools and lower now. They're disrupted by people who don't speak English. Because trust me, I got a crazy video you guys need to watch about Mexicans talking about how America, they don't like Americans coming to Mexico because they're making it, they're making it rent higher. They're making it, I'm like, oh, wait, but they're not illegals. They're people who got money. Oh, you guys don't like them invading your country, but it's cool to invade our country. But I digress that part. I'll leave that for a video in the future. But that video is hilarious, though, in my opinion. But the thing that killed me about that, like I said, he says that is like, if there's schools out there that are crappy, that you go past a high school, like look, we talked about it in Chicago. You go past high school with a D. Of course, that kid ain't gonna know what the hell to do because the schools failed them. It's a bad school system. Some kids want to learn. But then you got the ones who are disrupting the class. You can't suspend them. You can't expel them. When they're disrupting the class, the teacher can't teach. Well, the teacher should teach because it's wrong, because black kids are always the one causing trouble. We don't want it. And the other ones always, stop it. Stop it.
Irony here is that it was standardized tests that once helped bring underrepresented groups into college. Jews, for example.
Jews were called too bookish or too clannish or too overly focused on their academics.
Jason Riley of the Wall Street Journal points out that after SATs helped Jews break in, Harvard reduced focus on tests to prevent a dangerous increase in the proportion of Jews.
What the hell is that? Like I said, that's crazy. Why you want to do that? That's so stupid. Hey, make the tests. If Jews do better, good. If Asians, we know Asians do better. I don't care. That's not, I don't feel less insulted or less underwhelmed that I know that Asians that's smarter than me. Good for them. There are a lot of Asians out there that's stupid as hell too. But in academics, they do good. That's what you should be doing. Literally, I was talking to my fiance last night, in just a weird situation where there's a kid who's 5 years old or 7 years old. I don't know. 7 years old. And then went to school and did not went to sleep until 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. That's the problem of the parent not doing their damn job. When I was going to school at that age, when I was in 5th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade, I had to be in my bed by 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock, I was in my bed. So it's not only that, it's not only that the college is doing people bad, so that the parents is doing horrible too.
Now colleges do to Asians what they once did to Jews.
Yep.
It's about making these campuses look right.
Look
Using them to
right.
make your college catalog look more colorful. It's about aesthetics. It's not about learning.
Of course, learning disparities start well before college.
Yep.
If you want more diversity, you should open up more of these charter schools who somehow seem to be able to prepare these kids for these tests.
Some do succeed at doing that. School is boring.
No, it's not.
These charter school students just got their college acceptance notices.
Yeah.
But those successful charter schools are criticized.
They're not under the control of the teachers' unions.
Which has done a horrible. I just listened to a news story because of what the teachers union did between the pandemic of locking down the schools, where they should have never locked down the schools in the first place, to be found out how crazy this thing was. They have created more kid suicides than ever. Y'all student, you teacher student, you guys are. And again, remember I pointed out in that same thing, the leader for California, he dropped his kids to school, but said that the school that he works at should stay shut. But he dropped his kid to a private school. Same thing with Gavin Newsom. And then they got billions of dollars. And where did that $1 billion went? To the unions. That's where they went.
Allowing school choice, he says, would do more to close the race gap than eliminating tests.
And if you eliminate the test, John, you're just going to delay where it shows up elsewhere in this child's life. So you're not doing that child any
favor.
But woke educators want to eliminate tests to make it easier for them to control which racial groups are admitted. And today, what the woke want, the woke gets.
You're losing this argument. Many schools are getting rid of tests.
I think that's sad. You have turned oftentimes bright kids into artificial failures by mismatching them with schools.
What's wrong with these schools saying we want a more diverse student body?
How you achieve it is what I take issue with. There's this assumption if we just get these kids in the door, they'll be fine, they'll do okay. No, they won't, and they're being set up to fail. Yep. I see no progress in getting a bunch of Black kids admitted to MIT and then having them flunk out or struggle.
Yep.
When they don't need to be struggling because they could be going to another school and doing quite well and actually
graduating. Exactly. That's why a lot of Black people fail in colleges, because of mismatch with school. Oh, I'm going to Yale, I'm going to this, I'm going to that. And then you should have gone to a regular community school, or maybe you should have just gone to state school. But you got a pressure on you. You get pressure, you flunk out, and then you have a big old student debt to got pay back. That's what again, this is what pushes more of those kind of problems. And that's what I'm talking about. Shout out to AA. How about we help those who went through the ghetto schools or got schooled for life? I feel mad because I'm blind. By the time I got contacts that could not pop out of my eyes, it was too late. I wanted to learn to get out of the ghetto. Now it's too late. You got no future. Well, you got a future. You just gotta get out. You gotta get the driver's license. Hell, you might just I'm like Sprite. Find a job. Just look for a place with a job outside the state, and then maybe you could, in that state, you would get a driver's license if you can't find one in California. How crazy California is, but man, that's all I could tell you for real. School choice could have saved me. Now I want teachers that. No, okay, we ain't gonna go that route. But let's not pretend that regard. But again, that's what's up to failure, and then you're gonna get all the student loan debt like I was talking about. But again, that's what's going on. So let me see here. Again, so we got a student. So that right now Biden's gonna pass this. This is why I said people are stupid. Watch this right here. You see what I said at? Why I said people are stupid. This is a guy asking, like, People do not know because there was a Cato Institute did a survey saying how many people happy to get rid of student debt, right? This is the student debt forgiveness. 75% of Americans agreed with getting rid of student debt forgiveness. Okay. Adding this into the word saying that, are you willing to pay higher taxes to get rid of student debt? It dropped down to 20% because nobody want to pay higher taxes. But people are so stupid because they don't like, okay, yes, where you think the money's going to come from? Where you think the $900 billion for the forgiveness that Joe Biden's talking about, what is that going to do? That's not going to stop nothing. That's a kick in the bucket. And again, you still have the colleges you still have the government backing loans. So within 3 years, they're gonna be back to the same number. So wow, we took $1 billion off of $1.7 trillion. It'll come back to them within a couple of years. The government need to get out of student loans. They're horrible at it. Period. But here what I'm saying, here you know how people are that smart. Okay? Just a quick clip.
Yeah.
For everybody?
Yeah.
Free?
Yeah.
That is? For your colleges?
Yeah.
For everybody?
Yeah.
Free?
Yeah. Print the name, signature, email, and then the additional percentage of your salary that you'd like to donate in order to be able to afford it.
What? All right, do I have to donate now, or can I just
Yeah.
Okay,
Like,
no, I'll do it next time then. It's okay. I'm not. I thought it was just a petition.
I'm gonna have to think about that.
Okay. All right.
I'll be back.
All right. Thank you. And then right here, you're going to put the percentage of your salary that you would like to donate annually in order to help pay for free college.
Oh, I can't do that.
You can't do that?
No.
Oh, okay. Any of you guys want to do that?
To this?
Pay for it?
Pay for it? No.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay. So now?
Yeah.
All right. No.
You tell it. Too much money for that, huh?
Holy Jesus.
Nani? People are that stupid that they don't know. Hey, morons, you already paid for it in your taxes. He just put it more blatantly in front of you so you can see it, but you already paid for it for the colleges, you idiots. This is why I said, people are stupid, individuals smart. But those are some dumb people. Oh my God, you already paid for it. That's why my taxes is high as hell. And in California, you guys' taxes is higher than giraffe ears. I'm being more friendly than that. That's how stupid people are. That is literally how stupid people are. Oh my goodness. It's crazy. It is literally crazy. People are dumb. I said it for a reason. Say it again. All right, so let's go to another situation.
Crisis.
I'm in debt 70.
Student loan debt, a national crisis.
I'm in debt $70,000.
And what degree did you get to do? Oh wait, you got a stupid degree, I bet you.
Student loan debt keeps growing. The last administration blamed greedy bankers taking big profits.
Unnecessary middlemen in administering student loans.
No, there wasn't. It was your administration that blowed up the college loan in the first place, Mr. President.
So government would take over student loans.
Yep.
We take the middleman out. We take the banker out of the picture because they're taking a profit.
What? What the fuck?
Oh my God, I hate politicians. I hate politicians. And like I said, nothing more hate a Republican and Democrat. What the flying flip is that mean?
We'll save American taxpayers $68 billion.
But instead, the cost to taxpayers went up.
Exactly.
And student debt increased.
13 years ago, the average new college graduate owed $20,000 in student loans. Today, that number has jumped to $37,000.
What are you guys doing to help us with the student loan debt?
That's the one, the clip I was thinking about right there. This crotchety, old-looking Batman of a woman, I'm sorry, I'm going to call it what it is. What are we doing to stop student loan debt? The banks ain't got nothing to do with it because of what? You took over the loans, and you're the one who signed the bill.
You piece of loser.
To help us with the student loan debt.
Some politicians are still so eager to blame banks, they don't even know that they kicked banks out of the loan business.
Thank you.
Would like to answer first.
We stopped making student loans in 2007 or so.
Mr. Diamond?
When the government took over student lending in 2010 or so, we stopped doing all student lending.
If actual private lenders, people with skin in the game, made college loans, they'd care about being paid back.
Yep.
They'd tell students which majors often lead to higher paying careers and warn them that majoring in, say, sociology, art history, or gender studies might make it tougher to get out of debt.
Because they don't create nothing. All you stupid people who follow these crap, woman, gender, sexuality, stop it. It's not needed.
If I'm a young person going to college, the federal government doesn't tell me that the amount that I'm borrowing is probably going to be unaffordable for me because I'm on a path towards a low earnings occupation.
Yes, but that should not be the government's job to tell you that. You should be smart enough to know what you do. You take a loan, you pay it back.
Beth Akers of the Manhattan Institute is the author of Game of Loans. Under the government program, no student has a reason even to think about, will I earn money?
That's right. We charge everyone the same interest rate, and we give them the same caps on how much they can borrow.
Currently, many students are really dumb about their loans.
Exactly. A lot of these people are dumb about their loan. And I took out my loan, I was 17 years old. And I paid it out because I wasn't stupid enough to okay, let me see. If I borrow a month loan, I have to pay back. What is so hard about that?
28% don't even know they have a loan?
It's not because they're dumb, it's because we've made a system that's really complex.
No, they're dumb. I'm sorry, I'm not sugarcoating nothing. Most of them are dumb.
Enough is enough! Pay us back!
Today, activists say, just make college free.
Make college free. Then why would if you make college free? Go ahead and do that. We already don't see some states trying to do that, and it ain't working out the way they thought it was working out.
Give all the loans.
It ends up giving very large benefits to people who probably don't
need it. Exactly.
It would be welfare for the rich.
It sure
exactly.
would.
A better solution, says Akers, is something called an ISA, an income share agreement.
So you want to be a web developer? Sign up. Pay nothing up front. That's right, nothing.
Some private computer education boot camps do that.
That gets them into a career, most often in coding.
Those people were getting jobs.
Yeah, the ISA was a way for the school to say to them, you're only going to pay us if we help you succeed.
Exactly.
Now, some colleges offer ISAs. Graduates who get jobs repay the loans by paying the college a percentage of their income.
In the past 5 years, people are starting to get excited and try to implement income share agreements.
At first, I had no idea how I was going to move forward and pay for my education.
Engineering student Paul Aurora was thrilled to learn that Purdue would help him get an ISA loan. So was Andrew Hoyler, who's just started working as a pilot. Now that he has a job, he must pay the university 8% of his income for 104 months.
So after that 104-month term ends, if you still have money that you owe, it's forgiven. It's forgotten. You don't owe another penny. Now, if I find myself in a six-figure job tomorrow, there's a chance that I'll pay back far more than I initially took out.
But you're okay with that?
I'm okay with that. The security of knowing that I'll never pay back more than I can afford every month was enough for me.
If it's so good for you, I think it would be bad for the investor.
It's a risk that they take, just like an investment.
It conveys information to the student about how lucrative a different major is going to be.
English majors must pay 4.5% of their income for 116 months. Math majors pay 4% for just 96 months.
Some people think that's unfair, but really that's just a way that they can recapture the amount of money that they've put up in the first place.
Exactly.
This is new, useful information about what professions pay.
Not only what they pay, but how stable it may be, what the future is like. It may even sway students away from going into majors that don't have job prospects post-graduation.
The English major has to pay 116 months. Your loan is over 30 months sooner.
It's definitely something to look forward to that I can stop.
Because his degree makes good money.
Paying people quicker.
We should think about investing in students the same way that we invest in startups. Share equity in their company.
Basically put the students in touch with rich people.
It may be that there are rich investors feeding money into that fund, but it's not an individual connection between students and investors.
We don't know who the investor is, but I'd love to, give him a hug or buy him a beer or something.
Institutions are saying, hey, if I'm operating as the middleman, in a sense, I can make sure that no one's taking advantage of my students.
Still, some call ISAs predatory. This is like indentured servitude. You're locked into paying for all these months.
And if you're graduating, you don't have a job, you're not paying anything. So where's the servitude in that?
It's a brand new industry. The public's still learning, the investors are still learning. They really care about the students. It is a win-win situation for everyone involved in it.
I just want to give a different perspective and also a different way to look at stuff for the future for some kids. Because again, this thing is not going to be this situation ain't going to be ending no time soon. But I want to give a different perspective to John Stossel. That's why I subscribe to his channel and like to watch a lot of his videos and share his videos. And as you can see, like his videos. I do that because the situation is getting crazier and crazier. And again, if I had to pay that for, let's look at this. Let's look at this. Let's look at this. So 9.6, right? We already know that. 8 years, yeah, you can pay higher than that. 96 months, 8 years, yeah. But hey, as long as you got a job and you're stable, it's not like other people who got jobs and who got a degree and still have what, $70,000 in debt and don't have a job. Which one would you want to be? Because that also gonna stop you from what? Getting a house, start getting wealth because of that. But people don't see it that way. Again, my fiance and my sister, they have student loan debt. They have to do work, but they have pay back the loans. So that's saying that they have skin in the game to want to get a $10,000 or $20,000 debt forgiveness. But let's be reality. The problem is that this is not a fix. This is a band-aid on an open, like somebody chopped a hand out, you put a band-aid on it. That's what this is. So let's get down to the nitty-gritty of it. But I want to play another thing again to show you how just a reminder, how students, here's a person who got a journalism degree, works at the New York Times. I gotta play this to you because it's crazy. And I don't think it was an ombudsman or somebody was like telling her, hey, your article doesn't make sense. But hey, that's how it works out sometimes. Let's see here. Let's see if I can find it. Here we go.
The American dream is being repurposed, critics say distorted, particularly by Republicans of color. Oh boy, once again, the left media, the New York Times, if any black or brown person dares speak independently or not according to the progressive line, all of a sudden there's something wrong with them. So immediately my hackles were up a little bit, but I thought, okay, allegedly. I mean, then that's a hell of an allegation. Republicans, and particularly Republicans of color, are distorting the phrase. So let's listen to them make the case. Are Republicans using the term, the American dream, properly or perverting it? Juan Ciscomani, a Republican who washed cars to help his Mexican immigrant father pay the bills, is now running for Congress in Arizona. It's a great story. He's been leaning on a simple three-word phrase throughout his campaign, the American dream. To him, the American dream has become something to aspire to, but to defend from attack. He says in one ad, President Biden and Nancy Pelosi are destroying the American dream with a border crisis, soaring inflation, and schools that don't teach the good things about America. Yeah? Interesting.
Yeah.
I agree.
I agree too.
That is what's happening. Yeah, but I think I'm voting for this guy. I don't know anything else about him, but For decades, politicians have used the phrase the American dream to describe a promise of economic opportunity and upward mobility, of prosperity through hard work. Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly. It's been a promise so powerful it drew immigrants from around the world who went on to fulfill it generation after generation.
Yeah, like me.
Okay, you're making my case so far. Surely there's a twist so far.
I'm thinking.
Or ahead, rather. Because a lot of people on your side of it are saying the American dream is a lie, that the idea that you can work hard and be a success in this country is a lie because of systemic racism. And your very premise in this article is that it's people of color who are pitching this. I'm confused. Perhaps I'll read on.
Yeah.
And she mentions political figures in both parties employ the phrase. Now a new crop of Republican candidates and elected officials are using the phrase in a different way, invoking the same promise but arguing in speeches, ads, etc., that the American dream is in danger, threatened by what they see as rampant crime, unchecked illegal immigration, burdensome government regulations, and liberal social policies. Many of these Republicans are people of color, including immigrants and the children of immigrants, for whom the phrase has deep resonance.
Does she know that she's making the opposite? That, you know what? Let's listen to see. Like Joe said, maybe she will turn it around and see how bad it is at Hobo.
In other words, precisely the sort of people who would know.
Exactly.
Surely she gets around to refuting the argument in a minute or two, right? And she goes into some of the history of it, that Trump mentioned it. She mentions that Barack Obama warned the American dream could slip away. Bill Clinton and other Democrats. Then she says what's changed is some Republicans now cast the situation more starkly using the dream is in danger rhetoric.
When it is.
And that's, I guess, a difference, but a subtle difference.
Yep.
Okay, let's get back to these crazed Republicans of color, like Jason Miyares, a Republican and the child of Cuban immigrants. They fled communism, for God's sake. Both parties used to celebrate the fact that America is an exceptional country. Now you have only one party that celebrates that fact.
Yeah.
Right. Amen. Hallelujah. Correct. The American dream was part of his successful campaign to become Virginia's first Latino attorney general. My head's going to explode. This article, which is attacking these ideas, is like proving them better than anything I've ever read.
Exactly. And don't forget the first immigrant black lieutenant governor for Virginia. Not only Latino. All right. This is, I'm telling you, white is a female who wrote this. White liberal ladies are freaking nut jobs.
Okay, all right, never mind the Cuban immigrant who's now a successful man because he believes in the American dream. Let's go to this Mayra Flores we've talked about, a Mexican immigrant. First generation, became the first Latino Republican in Congress in Texas. Ran an ad that declared Democrats are destroying the American dream. How dare she, having achieved it? What was the title of this article? Oh, I gotta scan back up. How a storied phrase became a partisan battleground. What are the, wow, I don't know. Boy, I feel like my defense attorney is standing up in court and saying, oh, he clearly killed somebody.
Exactly.
That would have looked at it big picture and say, I don't think your headline and your premise and everything is holding together.
Yeah.
All right, here's another one of these monsters. Antonio Suad, an Italian-Lebanese immigrant running for a House seat in Dallas, said in an ad he washed dishes at the age of 15 before opening 2 restaurants, telling voters the American dream does not come from a government handout.
Hallelujah.
Again, there's more to this. We're running out of time. This is the most amazing bit of editorial failure I've ever seen.
I agree with that. You want to hear some dumb young people? Stay tuned.
Deep resonance.
That's the part that killed me. This is a person who in the New York Times wrote it saying that the American dream is dead, and these people, they're like, it's you proving their point. They said, hey, I work just like me. I worked hard, like I said, 3 jobs, whatever, got my degree, got my job, been working at my 9-to-5 job for 17 years now. God bless me. 17 years I've been there. Yeah. If you work hard, majority of the time, you will be a success. Am I ultra rich? No. Am I mega rich? No. Am I destined to be on the streets? Hell no. Am I poor? No. I'm middle class, which of course I always said, the rich get rich, the poor fight for the crumbs, and the middle class get effed over. And that's what I am. I get effed over. There are people who are the same age as me, and I know a lot of them too. They got they got a house as big as mine, but they are married or they have or they have somebody with them. I did all this on my own. Nobody's here, it's me. So I work hard to get this house, to get the cars I want, to get all that. I'm the one to get to travel all over the world and have fun. I did that. But again, that is what the education system is pointing out, that these people don't even understand that they're proving other people's point. So, with that state now, let's go into the student loan itself, and let's explain it with Andrew.
This is Joe Biden. On August 24th, 2022, Biden entered the Roosevelt Room in the White House to make a very special announcement about student debt forgiveness. But before he did, he went into a rambling 3-minute digression about his father. Here's some highlights.
I remember walking up, my dad, like probably a lot of your folks, cared a lot about your education. My dad's greatest regret was that he never got to go to college. And my dad was a very well-read man, and my dad was a well-dressed, refined fella, and this is before cell phones. My dad would, when your dad works in an automobile agency, the great advantage, you get a new car to go to the prom.
Sorry, I gotta look for this. I gotta look for this. I can't help it. I always say, because that's basically what he always states. Let me see. George Carlin. This is the clip I always want to play. My daddy. This is the clip I always want to play, where you would hear him say that.
There are some more people who ought to be smashed across the face repeatedly with a piece of heavy mining equipment.
Yes.
These grown men who refer to their fathers as my daddy. Yeah. Gee, you hear a lot of this stupid shit in the South. These rebel assholes, my daddy, yeah, my daddy. Well, my daddy used to say, blah, 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 blah. Oh, he did he? Well, wasn't that fucking enlightening?
Exactly. Exactly.
Or a good used car off the lot. You think I'm joking? I'm not joking.
Anyway, he's telling a story about how his dad wanted to send Joe to college. But apparently, Joe didn't understand the concept.
You always say, Joey, you're going to be a college man. And I say, Dad, but what does that matter? I mean, you can still get fired if you're a college man.
That is true.
Why would you even admit to that?
Because Joe Biden is stupid.
I remember my senior year, I got into one of the little Ivies, and I got into a number of schools. And
I'm dying to know which Ivy League school accepted Joey Biden.
We're trying to get the money, even with financial assistance, to be able to go there. And I remember going down after a baseball game. So I went down in my 51 Plymouth with beach towels for seat covers. And I had my uniform on, my spikes off. I ran in and give him my word, true story.
Oh, good. I was worried that he was making it up.
I know, right?
So Biden reminisces about how his dad tried to take out a loan to pay for Joe's Ivy League education.
I walked out and my dad was pacing back and forth. And he looked up, he said, oh, Joey, honey, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Joey, honey? What?
Went to Charlie and asked to borrow the money. He said, He won't lend it to me. He said, I'm so ashamed. I'm so damn ashamed. My dad was like millions of parents all across the country. Want to help the kids to get to school, but there was just no way to be able to do it.
And so poor Joe Biden was forced to scrap his dream of going to college and took a job next to his dad at the used car dealership. And oh wait,
That didn't
none
happen.
of that happened.
Exactly.
Because Joey Honey was able to go to college and eventually graduated from law school at the bottom of his class.
Yep.
But sure, an Ivy League school accepted him. So the moral of the story is that if you want to go to college, you'll find a way or something. Great stuff.
Yep.
Here's what my administration is going to do. Provide more breathing room for people so they have less burden by student debt. And quite frankly, to fix the system itself, which we...
Oh, you're going to fix the system. Okay. I'm all in to this BS.
Came in, we both acknowledged was broken in terms of, anyway.
You gotta love when the President of the United States just trails off and doesn't finish a thought. But yes, Joe Biden is right about one thing. The system is broken.
Yes.
Student debt doubled from $800 billion in 2010 to $1.6 trillion in 2020.
1.7 trillion now.
But instead of completely reforming the federal student loan system, or more preferably nuking it from orbit,
which they should,
Joe Biden's genius plan is to add fuel to the fire in an effort to buy votes from Democrats before the midterms.
My campaign for president, I made a commitment. That would provide student debt relief. And I'm honoring that commitment today. Using the authority Congress granted the Department of Education, we will forgive $10,000 in outstanding federal student loans.
Biden has ordered the Department of Education to do this, despite the fact that neither of them have the congressional authority to forgive loans. Here's Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi back in July 2021.
People think that the President of the United States has the power for debt forgiveness. He does not. He can postpone, he can delay, but he does not have that power. That has to be an act of Congress.
Wait, who runs the Congress right now? Oh, wait, Democrats. And why can't you guys do it? You got the House, you got the Senate, you got that. Why don't you just pass a bill for that? Oh, you guys can't because you go pass crappy bills like the Inflation Reduction Act that does nothing but gives you more inflation. And of course, side note, he forgiven the debt if you ever get this to pass, which I don't think he'll pass in time the way you want to use it, cause, wait for it, more inflation.
President can't do it. So that's not even a discussion.
And Biden did it anyway, using very broad emergency powers granted under the 2003 HEROES Act. But the way they're interpreting the act is incredibly flimsy. For one thing, throughout the pandemic, the borrowers in question have not accrued interest on their loans and have not been required to make payments for the last 2.5 years.
This is the time. Like I said, if you didn't have a job, you could do it. I understand that. But if you did have a job, the last 2 years were the best until December. Was the best time to pay that loan because you have no interest.
Second, most outstanding student loans were taken out before March 2020, before the pandemic. So their reasoning makes no sense. Mark my words, this will no doubt be challenged in court, and the Biden administration is going to lose bigly.
Stack It Up stands out.
Well, we don't know about that. Really, you play one that I can't skip, you bastards. How dare you? Again with this.
Now, as if forgiving $10,000 wasn't enough, most borrowers will be eligible for double that amount.
In addition, students who come from low-income families, which allowed them to qualify to receive a Pell Grant, will have their debt reduced $20,000.
Pell Grants are given to undergraduate students from low and middle income families who have exceptional financial need. These grants do not need to be paid back, and you're allowed to receive Pell Grants for as many as 12 terms. As an example, during the 2020-2021 academic year, 6.3 million students received a total of $26.5 billion in Pell Grants. That's an average of $4,200 per student. So these students that already received grants that may have totaled tens of thousands of dollars over the course of their education are now also eligible to receive an additional $20,000 in forgiveness. But if you didn't receive Pell Grants, i.e. free money, you only received 10 grand in forgiveness because equity or something.
That makes no sense at all.
No high-income individual or high-income household on top of the 5%, in the top 5% of incomes, by the way, will benefit from this action, period. You make more than that, you don't qualify.
Oh, good. I was worried that we were just giving away hundreds of billions of dollars to just anybody.
95% of the borrowers can benefit from these actions. That's 43 million people. Of the 43 million, over 60% are Pell Grant recipients. That's 27 million people who will get $20,000 in debt relief.
So theoretically, if Pell Grant recipients are the borrowers having the worst time of it, and if each of these 27 million recipients received $20,000 in debt relief, that would come to a maximum cost of $540 billion. In fact, the Penn-Wharton budget model estimates that forgiving federal college student loan debt will cost between $300 billion and $980 billion over a 10-year budget window.
Oh, Lord.
But whatever, it's just money. Now, what about students who paid off their loans? Will they see any of that sweet, sweet forgiveness?
Nope.
To answer that question, here's Peter Doocy from Fox News and the Secretary of Education, Miguel Cardona.
Who's an idiot as well. Again, here's another diversity hire.
People that already paid their student loans,
Right.
They don't get anything out of this deal.
Right.
That's right. Okay.
So if you took out a loan and paid it back in full like a responsible adult,
I know, right?
you will receive zero in loan forgiveness.
Right.
Actually, he's kind of wrong, because as it turns out, there's one small little detail that Secretary Cardona didn't understand during his interview, because the Department of Education had to make a clarification the following day. If you paid off your loan after March 13th, 2020, i.e. during the payment pause, you can call your service provider and get a refund equaling up to $10,000 or $20,000, depending on whether you had Pell Grants or not. And remember, this loan forgiveness scam is being done to, quote, address the financial harms of the pandemic. But if a borrower was able to pay it back in full within the 2.5-year payment pause, when they were not required to make any payments, chances are they weren't in dire straits.
And exactly. 45% can have their student debt fully canceled. That's 20 million people who can start getting on with their lives.
Start getting on with their lives. These people went to college. They're supposed to have an advantage in life over people who didn't go to college. But, you know, according to Joe Biden, this college debt is the only thing holding them back.
All this means people can finally crawl out from under that mountain of debt to get on top of their rent and their utilities.
That money was not going to go towards your utilities. What? You making that up.
To finally think about buying a home or starting a family or starting a business.
So if you have student loan debt and $10,000 or $20,000 was the thing that was holding you back from buying a house, just wait until you learn what a down payment or a mortgage is.
Exactly.
Not to mention that people start families all the time without money. And guess who swoops in and gives them food stamps, WIC, Medicare and Medicaid, CHIP, TANF, Head Start, Earned Income Tax Credits? Oh, that's right.
The government.
The federal government. Which means you, the American taxpayer, are paying the bill. Congrats, sucker.
Basically, you're correct about that part. We are suckers for that. That's the part I don't like.
Now, the top line is that up to $20,000 per borrower is going to be forgiven in student debt. But there are some details regarding Biden's new policy that have fallen through the cracks and haven't been widely reported.
Oh, really? Holy gosh, you think that the American media would be lying to us?
For example, according to this White House fact sheet, the Department of Education announced a proposal that would do the following for income-driven repayment plans. For undergraduate loans, the federal government would cut in half the amount that borrowers have to pay each month, from 10% to 5% of discretionary income.
That's income after you pay the necessities like housing, food, and the like. You currently pay 10%. We're cutting that in half to 5%.
Translation, it's basically allowing borrowers to pay half as much each month, therefore doubling the amount of time it will take them to pay back their loans, and increasing their interest by tens of thousands of dollars.
I'm just gonna say that. And of course, makes more interest. Biden, your plan sounds more like a predatory bank than as you say, oh, we're doing this because we stop at predatory banks, like you said in the last segment. You sound like a predatory bank.
I believe my plan is responsible and fair.
No, it ain't.
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
Again, if you cut the bare minimum monthly payment from 10% to 5%, you're just extending the amount of time for borrowers to pay down their debt. And after 20 years, the Department of Education will cancel that remaining balance. To put it simply, borrowers on income-driven repayment plans will pay even less per month and will ultimately get more of their debt canceled. All that is going to do is encourage borrowers to take out even more in loans because they know that they will never have to pay most of it back. And
they will get more crappier degrees and then find out, wait, oh, I only will get $30,000 for this degree?
Federal government is going to let them get away with it. Next, the proposed rule would raise the amount of income that is considered non-discretionary income and therefore is protected from repayment, guaranteeing that no borrower earning under 225% of the federal poverty level, about the annual equivalent of a $15 minimum wage for a single borrower, will have to make a monthly payment. Translation, if you spend your $40,000 student loan on a degree in philosophy and you end up working in retail, you'll never have to make a payment again. All Biden's policy is going to do is encourage even more irresponsibility.
Exactly.
The rule also covers the borrower's unpaid monthly interest, so that unlike other existing income-driven repayment plans, no borrower's loan balance will grow as long as they make their monthly payments, even when that monthly payment is zero because their income is low.
What the fuck?
Oh my Lord.
So for example, if you take out a $120,000 student loan to pay for a useless degree in journalism from NYU that leads to jobs that only pay $35,000 a year, the government will make your monthly payment $0. Count that as a completed monthly payment, and then after 20 years, they reward you for not paying it back by eliminating your debt. And finally, the proposed...
And are they going to do that? That's not going to happen. No, it's not.
Rule would forgive loan balances after 10 years of payments instead of 20 years for borrowers with original loan balances of $12,000 or less. So for the record, if you took out a student loan for $12,000 at say 7% interest to completely pay it off over 10 years, you would have to make payments of $139 a month. And that seems pretty reasonable, right?
Yep.
Not so fast. With the new income-driven repayment plans and the non-discretionary income rule, the government is making it easier for you to game the system. And that means you probably won't have to pay a dime. And think about this for a minute. If you go to college and you can't afford to pay off a $12,000 student loan within a 10-year period, then that's proof that the college courses you took and the degree you received are useless.
Exactly.
And of course, this is all unsustainable and is going to increase the national debt.
Yep.
But the big question is, how is all of this going to be paid for?
Well,
that's a video for next time.
And that's what we're going to be jumping into, because you want to see stupid people. Oh boy. Oh boy. let's listen to this. Let's listen to this one, cause this is warning to everybody out there: loss of brain cells. Loss of brain cells. That's what this is gonna be. Okay. But here we go.
Where 43 million borrowers will receive up to $20,000 in debt relief. First and foremost, how much is this all going to cost?
How much will this cost? How much will Americans
$300 to $980 billion.
have to pay on this price tag overall?
Well, that remains to be determined, and it will be a function of what percentage of eligible borrowers actually take up this opportunity.
And this is another one. Susan Rice. She's another genius.
100 billion?
They have to. We'll see when they take up the opportunity. We'll be able to give you a much better sense.
Go with the worst case scenario. That's what you should do.
Of that
ballpark at this point?
I think it depends on the numbers.
So,
God, these people are stupid.
Susan Rice, the director of the Domestic Policy Council, can't tell you how much it's going to cost because it all just depends.
Well, go with the worst case scenario, which is $980 billion.
Like, unfortunately, and we're here to encourage as many people to take it up as possible. If 43 million borrowers take it up, that'll be different than if 50% of those 43 million take it up.
Well, no, duh. But again, let's go with the worst case scenario because your plan ain't gonna pay. Again, it's just a way so at least we know how much the taxpayers' money is gonna go get squandered.
If it is 43 million, if I could just follow on, if the full number of eligible borrowers do take advantage of the program, what would the cost be?
Exactly. That's what she just said. That's what she just said. The worst case scenario.
I can't give you that off the top of my head.
Holy crap baskets. What?
So she comes to a press briefing to answer questions about the so-called debt relief and doesn't have a clue about how much it's going to cost? Yeah, I'm not buying it either. And we get the same story from director of the National Economic Council, Bharat Ramamurati.
Oh my God. All of Biden's hires are people who don't know crap. They're just, I'm a black man, I'm a brown man, I'm a woman who's gay, I'm a woman. That's why I said, I don't want that crap. That's why I always say I want hey, I don't care if it's a white man, white woman, Asian. Hey, do you know how to do brain surgery? Yes. You have gone to a lot of schools to do it? Yes. Okay. Oh, I could do it for you. Why? Because you'll be more diverse. A black, Indian, gay, him, her, transgender person. Don't you want to be more diverse? What school are you at? None. I'm going with the white guy. Sorry, I don't give a damn. Here we go.
So the first question is, what's the cost? And
$980 billion.
As Ambassador Rice said, there's a number of factors that go into that question.
No, it does not. The lady asks you in the worst case scenario, $980 billion.
There's the take-up rate. Our hope is that 100% of people who are eligible go apply for relief and get
Okay, so let's take it 100% take it.
The relief that they're entitled to. I think realistically we're not going to get to 100%, but the question is how far short of 100% are we going to be? And that plays a big role in what the cost is going to be.
Yes, but that's not the question.
The plan is that every borrower will take advantage of loan forgiveness, yet they don't know how much it's going to cost.
Exactly.
Well, the short answer is they actually do know. The Penn Wharton budget model estimates that forgiving federal college student loan debt will cost between $300 billion and $980 billion over a 10-year budget window.
Yeah.
So with that said, the White House is going to do everything it can to avoid admitting that the cost could be as much as $1 trillion.
How about the student loans? How can the country afford such a massive handout?
Look, if you look at what this president has done, if you look at the end of this coming end.
She is horrible at her job. Another hire, because she's a black immigrant, openly gay. I don't give a rat crap about that stuff. Do you know what you're talking about? No, you don't.
End of the fiscal year, $1.7 trillion that we have brought down the deficit.
No, you have not. No, you have not. Wait, what the hell?
Nani?
No, you have not. Your administration have not done that.
That matters. That matters.
Oh, look who's back from vacation.
And that matters. That matters. That matters. Which is going to matter. That matters.
No.
That matters as well.
Anyway, Little Miss Matters is not answering the question, which was, who is paying for it? Instead, she's pointing to deficit reduction, which has nothing to do with paying for anything.
Exactly.
As you should know, a deficit occurs when a government spends more money than it collects in taxes. For example, in 2020, the federal deficit under President Trump was a massive $3.1 trillion. And this is primarily because of COVID spending. The next year under Biden, the deficit was nearly $2.8 trillion. And since the deficit was $350 billion less than the previous year, the Biden administration claims that it cut the deficit by $350 billion.
This is why I hate politicians.
But the reality is that nothing was cut. All this means is that less was spent in 2021 than was spent in 2020. But for some reason, the White House looks at the deficit and treats it like it's money in the bank.
And if you look at the Inflation Reduction Act, it's going to add another $300 billion. It's going to...
Over 10 years, you crazy lady. And that's a kick in the pants. That's a spit in the ocean of $1.7 trillion. By the time that thing kicks in at 10 years, what, the difference is going to be what, $2.7 trillion, $3 trillion?
Bring down the deficit again.
It would be nice if the White House spokesperson could actually speak, but whatever. Anyway, Karine is trying to say that the Inflation Reduction Act is going to bring down the deficit by $300 billion. But this is very misleading because this deficit reduction of $300 billion is over a 10-year period and doesn't kick in until 2027.
And you might spend $300 to $900 billion extra, so you can do that and not.
But here's the thing.
deficit.
Here's the thing. What we are trying to do here, we are doing this responsibly. And you think about.
Oh man, you full of crap, lady.
About what Republicans did just a couple of years ago, they signed off on a $2 trillion tax cut for the wealthy and did not provide any way to pay for that.
That's not how it works, you. Oh Lord. Oh my goodness. Oh people. Oh, it hurts. It hurts.
Karine is referring to the 2017 Trump tax cuts and claiming that they weren't paid for. And, you may recall that Democrats like Nancy Pelosi called it the GOP tax scam. But the data shows that they're lying.
I'm not surprised by that because I know how, I know simple. Oh, God.
I know, you're shocked.
I'm not because I know how it is. These people are clueless. And these are the people in charge. You're looking for these people that are in charge of stuff?
Tyler Goodspeed and Kevin Hassett, economists who both worked in the Trump White House, explained that the tax cuts worked exactly how they were designed. When the 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act was passed, we were criticized for being overly optimistic about the effects we predicted it would have. Now that the evidence is in, our critics were wrong, and the economic data have met or even exceeded our predictions. Though growth in business investment had been slowing in the years leading up to 2017, after tax reform, it surged. By the end of 2019, it was 9.4% above its 2017 trend, exactly in line with the prediction of our models. And I should point out that in fiscal year 2021, corporate tax revenue hit an all-time high of $372 billion.
Because what a lot of people don't understand, and it puzzles me, this part, if you spread the tax base, you're gonna get more money. Dems and politicians, you'll get more money. If I'm a company that I only have like say 10 people, but if you give me the tax cut and I could get 10 more people, then that means they got jobs, they're not taking out from the system, and they're providing tax money towards you. That's how it works. The more people working, the more taxes you'll get.
And earlier this year, it was predicted that it would be even higher in fiscal year 2022, where corporate tax revenue would hit $454 billion. In other words, the Trump tax cuts paid for themselves. And because the tax cuts were pro-business, Democrats hate it.
Yep.
But they're also going to lie that the tax cuts didn't help the middle class or people with lower incomes.
And just because I've seen some criticism from Republicans on this today, it's instructive to compare that to what the Republican tax bill did in 2017. It's basically the reverse. 15% of the benefits went to people making under $75,000 a year, and 85% went to people making over $75,000 a year.
That's not how it works. You do 2017. Why did you just do the 2019 when you have the year? Y'all are so deceptive.
And if you zoom in even more on that, people making over $250,000 a year got nearly half of the benefits.
Of course, people making over 75 grand a year benefited more because people that make more money pay more in taxes. Let me explain. Say that this woman made $30,000. Her top tax rate in 2017 would have been 15%, and her total tax bill would have been $2,474. But in 2022, her top tax rate dropped, and she only has to pay $1,895.
And then if you could add more employees, that could, instead of one person, like you says you add 3 more people, that would more than do over the 2,000 that you just had before. More people increases more taxes. I don't know why that's so hard.
She benefited and saved $579. Now let's say that this man made $200,000 in 2017. His top tax rate would have been 33%, and his tax bill would have been $46,070. In 2022, he would have only had to pay $40,811. He benefited and saved $5,259. So of course Democrats always demonize people who make more money and claim that they're being...
Except for them, which they make more money as well. Like the movie theater, the celebrities and the politicians, they make a lot of money, but nobody wants to talk about that crap.
Treated better than the poors. But keep in mind that the person who made $30,000 only paid 6.31% of their income, while the person who made 200 grand paid 20.4%. But sure, those privileged rich people get all the benefit or whatever. And to say that the middle class didn't benefit from the Trump tax cuts is a big fat lie.
Yep.
Compare these income tax brackets from 2017 and 2018. Essentially, if you're a single filer that made more than $9,525 a year, your marginal tax rate decreased, which means benefits all around. Furthermore, Americans got a raise. Goodspeed and Hassett point out that in 2018 and 2019, real median household income in the US rose by $5,000, a bigger increase in only 2 years than in the entire 8 years of the preceding recovery combined. Exactly. And the preceding economic recovery was the one that President Obama put Vice President Joe Biden in charge of overseeing. And it turned out to be the slowest and weakest economic recovery since World War II. Not a joke, folks. So the Biden administration is lying about the Trump tax cuts, but they would never lie about the current state of the economy, right?
And of course, if you look back to some of the data releases a little bit earlier, for July, we had 528,000 new jobs. CPI, which came out in July, that was flat, so no price increases in July.
Holy Jesus. What is that?
No, son of a bitch!
Yes, there been price increases. Why y'all lie so much?
Except that from June to July, the price of food at home was up 1.1%. Dairy products rose 1.7%. Coffee rose 3.5%. Juices rose 2.3%.
I know that.
Cereals and bakery products rose 1.8%.
Yep.
Meats, poultry, fish, and eggs rose 0.5%.
And again, the whole X part killed me. I used to pay $1.75 for 36 excuse me, for 32 eggs. That's what I used to pay. Now I'm paying $5 for the same amount. That's a big ass jump.
And fruits and vegetables increased 0.5%. But you know.
No price increases in July.
And of course, they're gonna lie and say that the so-called debt forgiveness is paid for.
Who is paying for this?
What we are saying is the work that this administration has done, the work that the Democrats in Congress has done is actually there, and you see that the 1.7 trillion deficit deduction that you see is going to benefit us in being.
Are her parents brother and sister? Can you please leave now? Oh, now I get it. She's a moron.
Being able to do something for the middle class, to do something for the middle class.
Oh, I see. Shifting hundreds of billions of dollars of debt to middle class taxpayers is a benefit. Got it.
Exactly in that situation. That's the benefit. Holy crap, people are crazy.
Then there's the issue of future student debt, because the new proposed rules from the Department of Education make it easier for borrowers to take on debt without worrying about having to pay it back in full.
Yep.
And since the federal government is guaranteeing these loans, colleges and universities are very likely to raise tuition costs and fees because they can. But don't worry, Susan Rice says that it's not going to happen because of Biden's American Rescue Plan or something.
The American Rescue Plan provided both in state and local funds, as well as in funds targeted to higher education, significant dollars that can and should be used to make sure that public institutions don't increase their tuition and expenses.
Motherfucker, that don't even make no goddamn sense.
Greater than the rate of inflation.
She's specifically talking about public institutions when the issue of very high tuition is largely with private institutions. Furthermore, the federal government has no jurisdiction over what public or private colleges and universities charge.
The Department of Education is going to be vigilant. They are going to publish annually a list of institutions that are the worst actors in terms of the delta between
like
what
they don't care.
Promise, what they charge, and what they deliver.
Oh, I see. Colleges and universities are going to keep their tuition down because if they don't, the government's going to get mad and shame them.
Wow, what a waste. The poor children.
Get real.
What prevents the cycle of debt from continuing?
Exactly.
There will be students, no doubt, this coming year who are going to take on more loans. And I guess I'm still confused as to how this cycle...
You ain't confused. It's simple. They're going to keep on borrowing and they're not going to stop the problem.
Well, debt is really broken.
Yes.
I mean, when you think about, and this was in our fact sheets, which I think is really important to state, is how much relief this will provide to 43 million borrowers, including canceling full remaining balance for roughly.
Holy Jesus! What is that? What the fuck is that?
Chick, that's not what she asked. That's not the question she asked. And you know the answer is you don't. You can't.
20 million borrowers. Like, that matters.
No, it does
so
not.
Asma Khalid's question was about the next generation of borrowers, and Karine Jean-Pierre is like, we're canceling debt for millions of past borrowers. It's in our fact sheet, stupid.
That matters.
But what actually matters is the fact that we've been told for years that there is a student loan debt crisis, and currently there is 1.75 trillion in outstanding debt. Back in July 2022, the Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget asked the question, how long before canceled student debt would return? They estimated that if every borrower was given $10,000 of debt relief, outstanding debt would return to current levels in just 4 years' time. In other words...
What did I say? What did I say? Prove my point. I said that because people are borrowing money crazy and they guarantee, so they don't care, and the college is gonna raise their tuition.
Canceling student debt for previous generations does not solve the problem for future generations, because the cycle of debt is allowed to continue. And you can't just snap your fingers and make the debt disappear.
Kind of wish you could do that to some people. I could see why Thanos had that idea, though.
That matters to borrowers and their family.
What are they doing for the next crop of people who are in high school right now and going
In
to
high school right now, going in, it's sort of like no solutions for them.
Well, look, I think what you're talking about, the future. Is that what you're talking about?
No flipping.
What the fuck?
Yes, the future. You moron.
You're talking about, okay.
Are you kidding? Yeah, we don't think about the future ramifications of our actions.
No.
We're gonna leave that for the next administration. Anyway.
Oh, Lord. You can't make this crap up. You just can't. All right, so you heard they don't even know what this bill, what it will do. They're just throwing out stuff because they don't know nothing. They have no facts to back up that. Oh, the fact sheet, that your fact sheet is wrong. It does not stop student debt. It's going to still increase. You're going to still have colleges still increase the tuition. And in the first video, I showed you what colleges are doing. Basically, some of the colleges are basically like a sandals resort. Why are you going to a sandals resort to get an education? How about you just teach them this arithmetic, science, good science, not the crappy science, the poli-sci crap and all the fake science crap, and get them out there to work so they could make money and be good taxpayers so you can get the taxes. But no, that's not the whole point of the situation. This is just set up so he can say this and some people go like, oh, we'll vote for Democrats November. But you guys are gonna know that caused more inflation, right? In other words, your food's gonna be higher, your gas is gonna be higher, everything will still be higher. I'm telling you, this is crazy. Literally crazy. So let me tell you the solution to the problem. Unlike those jabronis, I will tell you how to, because I feel bad for the kids.
Wow, what a waste.
The
poor children.
Yeah, I feel bad for them. So kids, let me help you out future so you guys can get better education in the future. Okay, number one, government gets out of student loans. Out of it. Stop it. Don't do it. We're done. Out of it. No guarantee back loans. Then the cycle won't happen once things get straightened out. So out of it. Then go back to the banks. If y'all ain't smart enough to do a bank, then y'all ain't smart enough to get a house. And funny enough, there's a lot of people who pay like BlackRock and them who pay a lot of money to buy it and just say, hey, we want you guys to rent your house. We don't want you to own your house. Why would you want to own your house? Bad people. We don't want you to own your own car. We want you to rent a car. They don't want you to own nothing. They don't want you to have no freedoms at all. That's so. 1, get out of student loan debt. 2, all current loans goes under a 1% or half a percentage point. I still say you got to give back the taxpayers for what they have given back to it. I know Tim Pool said do 0%. No, I said 5% or 1%. So you can give back for what you did. You did took on a loan. You signed, bad or not, and you didn't know that, you signed papers. 3, all the people who pay back their loans and can prove that they pay back their loans get a tax credit of up to about maybe $20,000. So if you owe money or you had stuff to go on, you get $20,000 get as a tax credit because you paid the loan back. You should get something out of this. So that will fix that. And number 4, the last one is we get rid of the crazy ass daggone degrees that don't do nothing. Do not go to college for poli-sci. Do not go to college for studies, gender studies, art history. No, they do not give you money. They don't provide money. Those are low-income jobs. Those don't. They might come with a stupid prestige, some of them, but they're low-income jobs. A lot of these studies you see on the TV and everything like that, these people are making $20,000, $30,000. They're making less money than some people who work at McDonald's in some cases. And I gotta get to that because California wasn't getting all crazy. I want to give food service people $22 a minimum wage. Oh, that's gonna work. That's gonna work miraculously. It's gonna get worse and worse. Sorry about that. But yeah, let's do that regard. Stop taking crappy jobs. Stop wasting your time with all that. Get good jobs. Doctors. Again, there's some jobs out there that don't even need to, you don't need to have a degree. HVC, mechanics, go to trade school, go to community colleges. Those ain't gonna run up, there's not gonna be crazy money. You go get your degree and get a job. I got my architectural job and stuff with basically with an associate's degree in science, a 2-year college. Now, yes, I got a 4-year degree, but my point is, I got that and I showed my work. So you don't need a crazy degree for that. If you're gonna be a doctor, yeah, you're gonna do some crazy science, real science and stuff like that. I get that, yes. And then get a good job in engineering, makes sense. You wanna make sure you know your numbers, I got a problem with that. But the stupid stuff, the studies, the gender studies, art history, all the stuff you saw that John starts to brought up a little bit ago, no, dumb idea, okay? That is ridiculous, okay? I want to thank you guys for joining me on this one. That's my solution. That will stop the debt right there, and it will be no problem at all. I have a solution, but again, remember, the politicians don't want to give the answer or fix it because they lose power or they lose a voting block. Which again, that puzzles me how people go with that. Oh, I'm gonna fix the problem. Well, okay, did you fix the problem? No, but I'm working on it. But vote for me and I'll fix the problem. 10 years later, you're gonna fix the problem. But you didn't fix nothing. But yeah, but still vote for me. And people stupidly still vote for these people. Maxine Waters, like you just said, she's been in Congress since the 90s. And she ain't done a lick of fixing none of her. She don't even live in the district that she's supposed to be in because it's so crappy. And where does she live? Around the rich people with a $6 billion house. Serious, guys. You gotta, you want to vote whatever, but you can't vote these idiots back in all the time. Good grief. But with that said, that's my solution. All right. In the future, I will combine part 1 and part 2 together. It's gonna be a whole thing. But that's the situation the student in. Right now, Congress is the one who got to make up the bill. You got to pass Senate. You got to pass, and of course, Joe Biden got to sign it in. The funny part about it is, in September, October, November, 2 months left. They can do it, but why did they do it in the last 2 years? Because they want the voting issue. Like I said before, they don't care. They don't care. And if you have free colleges is not gonna fix the problem at all. At all. But at least we'll tackle that. Next week we have another if nothing crazy happened. I know today we had the Queen passed away, Queen of England, rest in peace, she passed away. And a friend of the show, Andre, basically introduced his daughter to the world. He had a child. God bless him. I hope everything goes well with taking care of that young girl. And of course, you guys out there, be careful, be good, relax, chill. If you're in a heat situation like in California, Colorado, first when you're on the thermostat, do not sign over to the power companies because they could control your thermostat. Don't do that. And if not, take off the internet so they can't monitor and just reset it. Okay? With that said, hope you guys have a good weekend. Check us out tomorrow for the side chat. We'll talk about the college stuff. Again, I know I've seen a lot of people in the chat. Thank y'all for giving me a time and space. Remember, you can go to YouTube to check out the last video. And of course, Spotify. You can check it out on Spotify. The project open back on Spotify. You should see the usual symbol like this, and then you know you're in the right spot. With that said, this is your boy Tick for Patrick Mike. Remember, no matter evil comes in all shapes, size, color, creed, height, sex, nationality, made no difference. Thank y'all for putting up with me with my hoarse voice and stuff because I'm a little under the weather. And of course, remember, people are stupid, individuals smart. Please be that smart individual. Boy, take peace out. Catch y'all tomorrow or next week for another episode of Patrick Mike.